How we doing? Now, you're gonna have to give me a second, because I would like to show your guys' chat on the screen here without having to just do this and then just bring you guys over. I would really like not to have to do this, but there you go. Now you guys can see yourself. I think you guys can see yourself. How good? I don't know. I think it's fine. Wow, the background's just the background's just a YouTube video. I got apple juice. Yes, I'm drinking it out of the carton. You know how much sugar's probably in this thing? Yeah, that's a lot of sugar. How are you doing? How you guys doing? Yeah, so today, what our goal is, or what your goal is to try and make me laugh. Alright? If I laugh, then I end the stream. My goal is to try and stay on as long as possible. So I really hope you you got some funny jokes, or funny videos. And I'm sure more people will join, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It is a Saturday, so I chose the perfect day for it. For people to come in. And it's like 12, so everybody should be awake right now. Gotta stay hydrated, guys. That's why. You guys always end up seeing me with like the biggest jugs. That sounds weird. I didn't mean it like that. React to Ikami. Alright, let's look that up. Let's see what that is. Ikami's. What'd you say it was? E-M. You wanted me to react to creepypasta, cooking sim. Watch any of the three. And r/facepalm. Okay. Well, let's go down in order. React to Matthew. Okay. Whoever the heck Matthew is. Matthew. Sanitarial. 5. I wonder if I can just copy it. Yes, I can. Sweet, let's just do that. And paste. Don't worry, I'll stop the music. Just turn it down a lot. There we go. It's turned down a lot, I think. Let me check the audio. How's the audio look? It's still kind of loud. You guys can hear it pretty good. So you know what? We're just going to stop it while we watch the video. Alright. So here the video is, I think. What'd you say it was? That will scare you. He's got 2 of them, and they look the exact same. Which one is it? Is the one from January 20th or January 26th? What are you guys talking about? That'll keep you up at night. That'll keep you up at night. Did you say that will keep you up at night? No, that will scare you. I don't see one that says that will scare you. I just see them that will keep you up at night. January 20th. Okay. Alright. Here's the video. What the heck is he doing? Alright. I'm going to have to make you guys smaller and probably pause this video. Alright. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta pull it up real quick. Do 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 do. Alright, let's turn on the sound. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the video.
Oh, Uncle Matt's back again to tell you a bedtime story.
Alright. Weirdo.
The stories that come from the mind of a creepypasta writer are often demented, disturbing, and sometimes even beautiful. But ultimately, they result in a feeling of dread. That feeling you get when you know that you're being watched, that something bad is about to happen, or worse. If you're watching this late at night, or
being
with
watched
the
by
lights
you guys.
off, good. Prepare yourself for some
the lights
horrific
are off,
stories.
It don't look like it, but the lights are off. I just have a really bright lamp.
Here are the 5 scariest creepypastas that will keep you up at night.
I hate creepypastas.
Number 2.
Not because they're scary. Just
Number
because
5 is The Seer of Possibilities. Written by Thomas O., he tells the story of a man named Jack, who is contacted by an otherworldly being through his computer monitor.
Jack Black.
One day while playing solitaire, his screen went black.
This is Jack
and
Black.
red text appeared saying, "Hi Jack, I need a favor from you. You're a very special person,
he is
and
a
I
very
know
special
you
person.
can help me. I can't ask this of just anyone. I really need your help."
This sounds like something Jack Black would
unplugged
say.
the internet from the computer, but the text remained and said, "Still here, Jack." It went on to say how it needed a very specific favor done. How tomorrow Jack was to move a large potted plant next to the elevator at his job 3 inches from the wall, and how he would be rewarded. The text finished with, "I'm asking you because..."
I would just assume that it's a virus and shut down my computer, like anybody else would. Nobody would actually continue reading it or think that it's real. You'd just shut down your computer and let it go away. Like, seriously.
"Because I know you'll do it. You won't let me down. You're special."
Oh, shoot. Gotta bring it back up. Hold on.
Oh, Uncle Matt's
Don't know why I did that.
to tell you a bedtime story.
It's right here.
I really need your help. Jack, panicking,
I thought we were trying to make me laugh here, not trying to scare me.
But the text remained and said,
whatever.
"Still here,
It's
Jack."
your guys' thing.
It went on to say how it needed a very specific favor done. How tomorrow Jack was to move a large
you guys are
potted
talking a
plant
lot.
next to the elevator at his
I haven't
job
been
3
reading.
inches
I've
from
been
the
watching the
wall,
video.
and how he would be rewarded. The text finished with, "I'm asking you because I know you'll do it. You won't let me down. You're special. We'll talk tomorrow."
Creep.
Not knowing what to do, Jack pulled the power cord from the computer and went to bed. The next day, Jack went into work as he always did, but decided since he wasn't doing anything wrong or illegal, he might as well do it and see what happens. And so the plant was moved. Upon seeing nothing else happen, he went upstairs and had his daily chat with his co-worker Allie, whom he had a crush on. However, moments later, his boss James arrived complaining loudly about his twisted ankle from running into the plant in the lobby. The same plant that Jack moved. Panicked, Jack went back to his desk, where there was a message on his
you moved an
computer
object
screen
that person
waiting for
didn't know was
This will
there,
all
and they
make
tripped
sense
on
to
the
you
object.
in short order. Just go to work tomorrow like you normally do. Don't worry about a thing, Jack. You'll be rewarded. You're special. Talk to you tomorrow. The next day, Jack went to work and everything seemed normal. That was until he heard James approach Allie and ask her to drive him to the hospital for his worsening ankle. It was just moments later that he heard a massive crash. An 18-wheeler crashed into the car, killing Allie and nearly killing James, putting him in a coma. Jack raced home out of fear and was greeted by a message on his computer screen.
So you telling me this man's just killed his own crush? Why did you listen to the man in the computer?
No, Jack, it's not your fault. I know you're blaming yourself, but all people die eventually.
Oh, bull!
Some just sooner than others.
Oh,
the being went on to tell Jack how Allie was indeed interested in him and that they would have dated, however, would have cheated on him, spent all of his money, and made him miserable for 4 long years.
Oh well. Love sucks, but at least you had it.
Jack, in anger, smashed the computer screen and went to bed, not knowing what to do next.
That's a perfectly good computer. I'd take the computer.
The next day at work, he was approached by the head of the company offering him James's job. Jack had been promoted. After going home with the good news,
That's his
there was
reward.
yet another message waiting for him. The being revealed itself to be what it called the Seer. It was a being thousands of years old who had a powerful gift to see all futures.
Just a man with a time machine.
All possible outcomes. An artist of human manipulation. That Jack was its paintbrush and canvas, and that together they would make incredible things happen. For the first time, Jack's hesitancy vanished, and Jack simply responded, "What do you want me to do now?"
As every person would do, you know. Just a normal person would just be like, crazy person thinks that they're, a god, and they're talking to me. Might as well continue talking.
Next. Years passed, and Jack did every favor that the Seer asked. On one occasion, he entered a liquor store where he was instructed to give a man the number 27 when he asked for it. He needed it for a lottery ticket. 2 weeks later, he ran into the same man who had won the lottery. The man cut him a check for $10,000 as a thank you and went about his life. However, Jack was confused as the Seer made it very clear with every favor comes something bad and something good for Jack. But the Seer explained how the
Wait, why would you continue to do it then if it's something bad for you?
man would eventually go broke and his wife would leave him.
Oh, is it bad for the other person?
The next task had Jack park in a specific space at a specific time. That would cause a chain of events that caused a small fender bender, which caused a woman to call her insurance agent, making him leave work late and get mugged, but ultimately leading him to meet Donna, who would become his wife.
What? So basically you're telling me it's the butterfly effect.
12 years passed and he and the Seer became close. He had a nice job, a nice house, a beautiful wife, and people respected him. He was happy.
That's not okay. This is not okay. You're going to lose everything. You have more than what you did before. You have everything to lose.
Which is something he never really felt before the seer contacted him.
Shouldn't I be watching this for like a video?
The seer gave him a new task.
Why are you guys making me watch this right now?
I have a favor to ask.
I meant like give me like a minute clip, you know? Give me like a couple minute clips that's going to make me laugh or something, you know? Give me memes.
2 minutes.
Not
let the phone ring
a 26-minute video.
Then you can hang up. So he did, and 30 minutes later, the doorbell rang. He opened the door to a huge 17-year-old kid delivering pizza, which he insisted Jack take, despite Jack telling him he didn't order it.
Huge 17-year-old kid.
So he took it. Unfortunately, he didn't have money for a tip, so the boy, after looking briefly inside the house, walked away angrily. After handing the pizza to his wife, who was sitting on the couch, he went into his office where another message was waiting. But Jack was not ready for what it had to say. The seer explained how it's true he never lied to Jack, but he did withhold certain information. Allie was helping her brother through college to be a great psychologist, but he had to drop out after she died. The pizza delivery boy could have used that psychologist. The lottery winner was the neighbor to the pizza delivery boy, and after losing all of his money, beat him senseless as a boy after he jumped into the street in front of his car, traumatizing him. The boy's mother couldn't protect him because she was high on drugs given to her by her boyfriend, who bought the drugs with the money he stole from the insurance agent. Jack, you've done over 100 tasks for me, and each one has served an ultimate purpose, to psychologically destroy this boy, turn him into a monster, and to bring him here tonight. Together, we've done something wonderful. This is a masterpiece of human manipulation, our masterpiece. It began and ends with you, Jack. Tonight, wrong address, no tip, this poor boy finally snapped. He's downstairs right now. He's slitting Donna's throat at this exact moment.
Wonderful.
Jack could hear a short, muffled scream coming from the living room, followed by a gurgling noise. Do you know what, Jack? If I'd never contacted you, you would have lived for 85 years. 85 boring, meaningless, and bitter years.
Let the man live his life, strange being. Let the man live the way he wants to.
And when you died, nobody would have been at your funeral. I gave you 12 great, meaningful years. You were happy, and together we did something beautiful, something unique. And just then, behind Jack, the massive hulk of the demented delivery boy appeared in the doorway, a bloody knife in hand. On the screen, the last words from the seer appeared. Do you have something to say to me, Jack? Jack wiped his final tears and simply said, thank you.
What? Excuse me, a what? Bruh. That's such a stupid story. That's such a stupid story. That's such a stupid story.
4 is Don't Let Them In. Written by Maddie Kate, she tells the story of two girls, Emily and Annie, with an addiction-riddled mother. The story starts with the memories of Emily.
That is one saucy scream right there.
Then 7, who recalls her mother's back teeth falling out, and how she kept them, hoping one day that she could put...
So technically what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be trying to make me laugh. But someone suggested me a 26-minute video that's about creepypastas. So we're going to watch that first. And then we're going to, I guess, do the funny stuff. I don't know. Just depends. We're going in order. So we'll see what happens.
Her back together. Annie mostly took care of Emily as their mother was often incapacitated, putting on band-aids, making her microwave meals, and even brushing her hair.
What do you mean by microwaved meals? You mean like ravioli?
They lived in a dilapidated home that was falling apart.
Build it. I don't know. Fix it. Like, seriously.
With water-damaged ceilings,
that's fixable.
Rusted appliances,
that's
and
fixable.
Rotted stairs.
That's all fixable.
When their mother would use lightly, everything was mostly fine, and would even make them pancakes and take trips to the beach with them. But unfortunately, those days were rare, as the majority of the time she'd use heavily, would be out all night and leave them for days without food and even come home with random men. On Emily's 13th birthday in October, her mom had been gone for days and called her to wish her a happy birthday, to which Emily promptly hung up the phone on her. But what was worse was Annie's reaction. Annie was becoming like her mother. On that Wednesday night, Annie kept falling drunk off of whiskey at the age of 16, laughing hysterically like her mother did. Things didn't seem like they could get worse. That is, until the next day. The two sisters, angry with each other, were washing dishes together when they first heard it, the faint sound like that of crying coming from the backyard. They assumed that it was Milka, the 2-year-old next door, and so ignored it. It was now night, and they went outside on the porch to enjoy the sky, when they were interrupted by a wailing so terrible it didn't even sound human. In the bushes by the back fence, someone was crouching with their knees tucked up neatly under their chin, their arms wrapped around their legs, mouth agape, softly opening and closing as they cried. They ran inside out of terror in order to call the police, forgetting that they left their phone on the porch when they heard it, a tapping at the window. Someone or something's forehead was slowly and repeatedly bumping the glass. A moment later, it stopped until suddenly the thing smashed its head right through the window. The sisters ran up the stairs and locked themselves in the bathroom. The thing was now inside the house and it was looking for them. Annie decided bravely that she was going to go for help. When I go, I need you to lock the door, and I don't want you to open it for anything or anyone. Not for me, not for anyone.
Stupid.
Promise me, she
It's
said.
gonna copy your voice, and then she's gonna let you in because she think it's you, and then she's gonna die. You're both gonna die. You're both so stupid. You both are the main characters of this horror movie, meaning you die.
With that, Annie flew open the door and was gone into the dark hallway. Emily bolted the door shut just in time for something to bounce off the outside of the door with a high-pitched scream. Em, the voice asked.
Did I laugh at myself?
The voice was that of her mother. Sweetie, it's okay. Just open the door. It's
of her mother. What?
It's okay. Just let me in, it said. Then suddenly she heard her sister. Emily, let us in. The voices grew louder and louder, the banging on the door getting more and more intense,
wouldn't let him in.
as if the door would break open at any moment.
Cool.
Suddenly, all went quiet.
Awesome.
That's when the door shot open. Arms lifted Emily up and took her outside. She was surrounded by police cars and ambulances, and there was her sister in the middle of it all, Annie, with a smile on her face. As it turns out, there was no demon. It was actually her mom, out of her mind on booze, drugs, and everything in between, coming to the end of a week-long binge. Something had finally broken inside of her head, and this time there was no putting her back together. She'd been so high that she was able to mimic Annie's voice nearly perfectly.
No. No.
The real monsters are the ones that eat you alive slowly. The kind that comes in a bottle or a needle, or at the end of a long list of reasons why you can't get out of bed in the morning. Sometimes the monsters are the ones that raise you or love you the most, but it's up to you to let them in. Number 3 is A Shattered Life. Written by Matt Demirsky, the story opens with a man telling us that he'd been attacked by an entity that he cannot describe.
Cool.
It felt like claws puncturing his very soul,
so
while
it was
his
a dog.
body remained completely intact.
Nice.
From
or
that
cat.
point forward,
Possibly
he began feeling fatigued and vaguely tired. For a while, he was able to ward off the subtle drain with copious amounts of coffee, which seemed to help. As time went on, he met his love, Marjorie, and their love was able to keep the entity at bay, but only for a time. That's when the incidents began.
What
They began minor, with him noticing his neighbor's car had changed color, or that his co-workers' names had changed. But then, big leaps in memory began happening. One day, Marjorie came to his house with a key and boxes. She was about to move in. Last he remembered, they had just met a week ago, but in order to sound sane, he kept his mouth shut. The entity had eaten 3 months of his life.
Does he have dementia and you're just going to tell me that and then I'm going to be sad? Oh, why?
After that, for 3 full years, he never once let himself zone out. He stayed completely aware at all times. That was until one day when he...
Oh, I laughed at the yeah, I probably did. Yeah, you're probably right.
Grew a little careless. Suddenly, a young boy was tugging on his arm that he didn't recognize. It was his son. He knew immediately...
Is he just fast-forwarding through time? Like, what's up with this man's?
What had happened. He had missed the birth of his son. The entity had, this time, eaten a much larger portion of his memory. It was at that point that he had had enough. He went to doctors and priests. Nothing. Nobody could determine what was happening or the
dementia
cause.
Duh.
And some didn't even believe him. However, that's when things changed. One night, Marjorie arrived in a nice dress at his home.
Maybe
Oddly,
it's
she had knocked this time. It was their second date. The entity had not been eating his memories, but instead had shattered his soul. He was experiencing his life in fragments and out of order. And so time went on. Changes in politics or geography would happen daily, and major changes would occur every couple months.
You'd expect him at some point to just shoot himself.
And it was getting worse. One day he was suddenly in the presence of another young boy. It was his grandson. The entity had burrowed deep into his psyche, and major shifts like this began happening every couple weeks, not months. He became terrified that before long, these changes would be as frequent as his own heartbeats. That's when he suddenly found himself at a window watching the snowfall. His grandson, now a teenager, approached him, and for the first time, he told someone about his fragmented consciousness. Surprisingly, the teen offered to help to map his psychic wound, and for the first time, he felt hope. They came up with the idea to write down everything that he could and keep them in boxes under the stairs. And just like that, suddenly he was young again and was beginning to write what would become 50 boxes of memories over his lifetime. Then in a blink, he was as old as he had ever been. His grandson was now in his 30s. He took him to a room filled with strange equipment and sat him in a rubber chair facing a large mirror twice the height of a man. The pattern finally revealed itself, the grandson said. Turning on the machine, an electric zap created an arc above his head, just enough to reveal what this creature was: a parasite. A bulging leech-like mouth was wrapped around the back of his head, coming down to his eyebrows and touching his ear, with a slug-like body running over his shoulder and into his very soul. It was feeding on his mind. His grandson discovered, after 2 decades of research, the entity came from another dimension and feeds on the plexus of mind, soul, and quantum consciousness reality. They decided to use the machine, and in a painful whirl, the electroshock with pain greater than anything he'd ever felt before flowed through his ears. Suddenly, his memories flared. He could see the birth of his son. He could see the death of his wife Marjorie and everything else that he had missed. His scream faded, as did the machine, electricity, and chair, and he was now out in the woods on a bright summer day. But there it was. The creature was there, and it approached him, but this time it hissed and turned away. His grandson had done it. He'd become an unappetizing meal to the entity and returned home in a daze. He knew how his life would turn out. He knew every painful and beautiful experience that was coming, but he didn't care. He was back. And this realization was only interrupted by a single phone call. The same one he got that introduced him to her. It was Marjorie. Number 2.
So was it Marjorie? Was it actually Marjorie that was the parasite? Or am I wrong?
Is if you're armed at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. Written by Peter Frost David, the author tells the story of a man who's begging
I like that one. I like that one. At the very end, you know, it had a good ending. Plot twist, you know. I think Marjorie's the parasite, maybe. We don't know. And also the grandson ended up helping him. I like that one. That one was pretty good. Top 10 South Park jokes. That sounds like a good one. That sounds like a good one.
And his life.
Maybe that will make me laugh.
As the man explains, his ordeal started over 10,000
Oh, I'm so
years
sorry. I
ago.
didn't mean to hit you guys.
He earned money by participating in drug trials. On one particular morning, they gave him a drug that was a psychoactive substance intended to accelerate brain function, and it worked. They sent him into the waiting.
He took, what did he take? What is it called? He took, what's the movie called? Limitless. What did he take? He took, what's the drug called? Anybody know what I'm talking about? You remember the movie Limitless? What is the drug called in the movie Limitless? He took it. Whatever. I'm sure one of you guys will tell me.
Waiting room after he took it, where he read a copy of U.S. News and Scientific American cover to cover in no time. He read 3 magazines in 8 minutes. He then picked out a copy of Moby Dick, but just reaching one foot in front of the other felt like it took a long time. Exhausted, he collapsed into the couch in what seemed like a slow-motion fall in a movie. When they called him back in, he explained that he felt slow, but the truth was the other way around. Everything seemed slow because his brain was so fast. His brain was now functioning 10 to 20 times the normal speed, so even walking and moving his legs seemed excruciatingly slow. As they ran tests on him, his mind was off the charts. He finished a 50-word search in 3 seconds. He solved an intricate maze in 2 seconds. He was able to view a slideshow projected at 10 images a second and answered 95% correct as to what he saw. Ultimately, they sent him home, telling him that it would wear off in a couple hours. But the ride home was horrible. 3 metro stops only actually took 35 minutes, but in his drug-induced hypertime, it felt like days. When he got home, the elevator ride up felt like 5 hours just to move 7 floors. He picked up books he was reading and finished it almost instantly. Most of the time, he spent just turning the actual pages. He couldn't even surf the web because his high-speed internet seemed to take forever, so he decided to sleep it off. But it would not come. He decided to take an Ambien, and it took hours just to swallow it, but ultimately, nothing. It was torture. Unable to sleep, he decided to go back to the office to get them to fix this.
I don't know.
And ran outside.
But it's apparently spooky stuff, even though we're supposed to be trying to laugh.
At once. After the Ambien took effect, time moved thousands of times slower. Every second became days. He rolled his ankle by accident as his high-speed mind was completely unable to control his low-speed body. The pain increased over what felt like days, undiluted by the change in his perception of time. That was when he decided to end it all, to throw himself in front of a train. Crawling off the escalator, minutes felt like years. Then it happened. It fully hit him while he was curled up by the bench. He blinked, and years of darkness followed. Sound was gone, and now so was sight. All that existed was the pain from the fall. Trying to pull out his phone took decades. And so this story was his final attempt at help. He's lived hundreds of lifespans at the foot of the Metro bench. He became far older in spirit than any human who had ever lived. Most of that experience a snapshot of pain huddled on the floor of a subway platform. He spent lifetimes typing and posting this exact message in a hope that someone will hear it and become convinced that his suffering must end. Anyone on that platform. Someone who will find a man curled under a bench.
Hey, what's up?
The man who crawled down the escalator and kill him as swiftly as possible. His only ask, if you're armed and at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. And number 1 is what happens.
I liked that one. That one was pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Here's the last one, and then we move on to funny stuff. No spooky stuff anymore. We're trying to make me laugh today, guys. Start typing in chat.
Clark, he tells the
if you've already typed something, type it again. Start typing in chat. Funny memes. Go.
After making a life-ending
go, guys.
decision.
Go.
Brian finds himself on a gurney surrounded by EMTs who are trying to save his life. He loses consciousness and is transported back to a memory of being at an exhibit in a museum. A girl approaches him and strikes up a conversation about how everyone is made up of stars and introduces herself as Robin. Brian, he responds, and the two go for drinks. Instantly, he's transported back to an ambulance.
Funny memes, funny videos.
Are arguing over him.
You got this, I believe
Todd
in you.
Has given up.
Trying to make me laugh.
This one's gone, Rachel, he says, while Rachel, the other EMT, says she's not losing another one tonight. Brian flashes back and forth between these kind of memories. Memories of being with Robin on a Ferris wheel and other places, just being in love with Robin. They're beautiful memories, but something feels wrong. Everything is getting hotter and hotter. He flashes back and forth between that and the ambulance until he remembers one significant, utterly sad moment with Robin. It was a rainy day and the two were having a conversation about their future when Brian begins talking about the divorce rate, how he wants to make sure that she's the one, and how sometimes it's impossible to know. Immediately, he realizes the mistake that he's made, but it's too late. Robin, heartbroken, asks to be dropped off at her car. As the rain is pouring down on them, Robin asks him where he sees them going, and although Brian tries to explain,
you just find a video. Find a video, type in the title of the video.
Was her mother's. How she knew
just
that
type
Brian
in the title
was
of the video, and I'll look it up the best I can.
Her life with him, but now it's over. She gets in her Honda Civic and drives off. Brian decides that he can make this right, goes to the store to buy flowers, and speeds after her in the rain. But Brian is stopped by a police officer up ahead, telling him that there's an accident, a bad one. Up ahead, Brian could see a man on the side of the road, with his head in his hands, SUV totaled.
Is it Brian?
But amongst the wreckage, Brian could clearly make out one other thing, the other car. It was a Civic. Brian knew immediately what had happened. He got out of his car and ran towards the crash, screaming, "That's my girl, that's my girl," and was stopped by the officer, but not before he saw it, the white sheet on the gurney. Just then, in a blink, he flashes back to being with the EMTs, this time in a hospital, the unexplainable heat intensifying. He can feel tubes in his throat and a black substance being forced down it, charcoal. Brian, in a moment of pure despair and weakness, had gone home and downed an entire bottle of pills. He sent a final text to his father saying, "I love you," to which his dad responded, "I love you too. You okay?" To which his father got no response. Brian just wanted to be with Robin. After not coming out of the bathroom, his roommate called an ambulance, but it was too late. 2:32 a.m., one nurse says, but he can hear Rachel, the EMT, screaming in protest that he wasn't gone, that there's still time to save him. But just then, Brian suddenly felt the heat like never before. It was a burning, sweltering heat like he'd never experienced, but then he felt a new pain. A hand had reached into the darkness and gripped his arm so hard that he could feel nails ripping into his flesh. Then the darkness was gone. It was Robin. She had saved him for where he was about to go for all of eternity. But Robin wasn't done. She began to show him all of the people that he hurt, all of the people who loved him, who were devastated that he was gone. His roommate who never left the hospital, his father crying like a son should never see his father cry, and even Rachel, the EMT.
So is he dead or not dead?
She was showing him what real love was. That people truly loved him. Then she showed him one last thing. It was a future that didn't exist yet. It was him and Rachel, the EMT. They were on the beach with their child, playing out in the surf. Then the two of them with silver hair as their daughter turned 10.
Aww.
Robin gave him one final kiss and said, "You're made up of stars, kid. Now go light up the world." And suddenly he was back in the hospital. In a last-ditch effort, Rachel stabbed him with an adrenaline needle, which was enough to wake him up. All the remedies had worked. Rachel had saved him. Squeezing his hand, she said, "Hey,
don't make me cry."
How are you feeling?" To which he replied, better than dead. And with that, Brian took out his phone, opened up the most recent text, and hit reply. Am now, he said. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, remember to drop a like on it.
No, you freaking ain't! You are not. You just about died, my son. You are not okay. You are not okay. Yeah, nice try. Nice try, dingus. All right. Did we get some videos up in here, guys? Did we get some videos up in here, huh? I expect to see some videos. All right, here we go. Let's look these things up. All right, I'm going to guess that they're all on YouTube, so. All right, EMKAY r/face palm. You don't know what video to send? You telling me you've never found a funny video? Or you don't know any funny memes? Go down from the beginning. What do you mean? From where? React to Let's Game It Out. Sure, I'll copy that as well. Oh, I've seen that one. It's the chef video, right? Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that one. I'm sorry. Provided. I've seen this. Hold on, let me. That intro. I've seen this video right here. I've already seen that. It's a good video, but I already watched it. React to MK facepalm. I'm starting from the top, scrolling down. I think that's what I have over here is MK facepalm. Oh, there's another one. What's it called? Watch Robber Squirrel Maze 10 or 2. All right, let's copy that one. Let's copy that one, stick that one up here. Paste. All right, I have that up. Let's go over one more and let's type in the next one. Top South Park jokes. Okay, copying that one. Pasting from Watch Mojo. Pause the video. Hello everybody, this is WatchMojo.com. Facepalm and then mildly infuriating. Gotta copy that one as well. And then put that one up here. Mildly infuriating. There it is. Patently stupid. Have you seen the channel Impact? Lots of funny videos in there. No, I have not. I will type that in as well. All right. I think I have them all. I'm just checking to make sure. Yeah, I've seen all the videos of him. I liked his cooking videos. I thought they were funny. That's probably why you suggested them. I do watch people on my own time, just so you know. I try to watch the videos that I don't think people will suggest. I know it's weird to say it like that, but I try my best. Impact, I guess YouTube. You got to give me more of like a video title, because it's hard to find just their YouTubes. Do you mean wrestling, or is this Impact? Like, what's going on here? It has 400 subscribers.
Partnerships.
I don't think you mean that, so. Just send me a YouTube video. Okay, so first things first, we are going to react to... it goes in this order, I believe. I believe it's... Let's pull it up real quick. The one with 500k subs. I saw... Is it a wrestling? Is it wrestling? Because that's all I saw. All I saw was wrestling. I'm sorry, I keep on pressing that. I don't mean to. I should probably move it up one so that I stop pressing it. There we go. Unusual memes Adam Ross would like Impact. Okay, there you go. See? There we go. Title. A good title. I'll type that in right here for you. Paste. Unusual memes. There we go. Okay. So we're going to start off with the squirrel. And then we're going to go to next one, and just go down the line.
This is...
Alright. 21 minutes. Okay. Hopefully this is funny. We'll see if it's funny. Hold on. Everything all good? Alright. I'm just making sure audio's good. Yes. Hello. Yes. Does the audio play?
Bird feeder.
Yep.
And everything to my left is my attempt at making it squirrel proof. If they want the bird seed, they will first need to pass through what is basically an 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course for squirrels. This course is extremely challenging. It is not for the timid of heart. But out of the gate, I will admit that in hindsight, that I completely underestimated my adversary. Now, if you're wondering why I would go through all this trouble, we need to go back 8 weeks ago when I found myself stuck at home and very bored. So I installed a bird feeder and decided to become a bird watcher. And it was just so lovely. Until they showed up. Now luckily my bird feeder had a wire cage around it, big enough for the birds to slip inside, but small enough to prevent the squirrels from getting the food. And that worked really well until right here. For me, this was like the moment in Jurassic Park when they realized the
I've already laughed at that.
handles.
It's
And
Jurassic Park,
open,
man. You can't
clear
get me on Jurassic Park,
They
my guy.
basically
Jurassic
cleared
Park
this
is awesome.
whole tube of bird seed by the end of the day. Mind you, this bird feeder was advertised as being squirrel proof, so I bought another squirrel proof bird feeder to replace it. It's got this outer cage suspended by some springs, and so if a bird comes and lands here, it doesn't weigh that much and it has access to the seeds. However, if a squirrel comes, they'll grab onto this cage, its weight will force the springs down, thereby preventing access to the seeds.
Right.
I have no idea how the squirrels could possibly outsmart this, but let's see. And this one worked exactly as intended. You can see the birds love it, but when the squirrel comes along, the cage shifts down and now all the seed ports are covered up. Every time they tried, it was the same results. However, the next morning, this guy manages to unclip the springs that hold the cage up, which means the cage stays in the lowered position where it blocks all the seed openings. Problem with that is now they can get to the lid. But this bird feeder lid doesn't hinge open to give direct access, so he goes with a different tactic. Where he now has access to all the bird seed he wants. And so I decided I would try one more bird feeder design. Okay. Wow. It almost feels intentional at this point. This one's supposed to work well because it's got this baffle, which is supposed to keep the squirrels from just coming straight down and getting to the seeds. And more importantly, there's no way for them to rip this off. We'll see. This one debuted to similar results. As he hangs by a few toes, this is when I really started to gain an appreciation for what they were capable of. It definitely seemed like this bird feeder was their favorite. Okay. Yeah, they're flexing on me for sure. And at this point, a plan was forming in my head, but just to be thorough, I moved the post away from the fence, and I can't say I was surprised when they just climbed it. Nor was I surprised to see they could shimmy up and down a small metal pole, or even a large one for that matter. And whether they could climb a certain pole material was a moot point anyways because of this. Look at this! These guys are basically freaking rodent-sized Simone Biles. And on some level, this is what it felt like when someone stole a package from my porch that didn't belong to them, and I harnessed that indignation, spending a year designing the glitter bomb bait package.
Oh, he's the guy who made the glitter bomb! Glitter
Complete
bomb!
with special fragrances. If I could design a package to deter thieves, could I design a bird feeder to deter squirrels? And so after a couple weeks of brainstorming, designing, and building with my buddy John, we put it all together in this 20-second build montage.
Yo, when squirrels are hungry, they get smart. This is way too elaborate.
Here are the basic elements. For starters, here's where I've placed their favorite bird feeder, at the end of the course. And to sweeten the deal, right below that, there's a trap door. And if they step here, it releases a butt ton of walnuts and unfurls some celebratory banners. Why walnuts? I'm glad you asked. I'm using walnuts because over the course of a week, I put out a buffet of 7 different nuts and seeds. And all 4 times I repeated the experiment, walnuts were always the one they ate first. What's great about placing this here is it levels the playing field, as the birds can fly up and get as much food as they want anytime they need it. The squirrels, however, will have to work for it, because the only way to make it to this platform is if they work their way through my 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course, which all starts right here. This is the only platform on the course that has a pole that isn't covered in slippery stuff, which means this is where they have to climb up to enter the course.
Smart,
if they try and get up any other way, they can't keep a good grip, and they just slide back down. So the first challenge is the bridge of instability.
Okay.
Now this may look easy, but the trick is it attaches at a single point on each end. And from a physics standpoint, that makes it no different than trying to crawl across a tightrope. It's the same deceptive principle with that one carnival game that's so impossible. I broke it down in another video where I used physics to show which carnival games were basically scams and the science on how to beat them. Next up, the maze of 1,000 corridors. This one's a bit more cerebral, but if they make it through that, it will bring them to the pitchfork tumblers, which are inspired by the show Wipeout. But unlike Wipeout, I should point out that all these contraptions are squirrel friendly, and even with a little back force, they will break away and stop spinning. Now, if they can make it past the pitchfork tumblers of treachery, they come to one of my personal favorites, the home wrecker.
See, I'm not laughing.
I put her in to tempt the squirrel to lose focus on the real prize at the end of the course. Because this pad has a pressure sensor underneath it, and it connects to a microcontroller that has a relay that connects to a solenoid, that connects to a pneumatic piston, that connects back to this platform with the pressure sensor. And so if they stand here for more than 3 seconds, they've got to start the course all over again. Next up is the sneaky bridge of deception. I've suspended a juicy walnut right in the middle,
like that.
But there's no way this bridge will support their weight, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. The 6th challenge is called the tourist trap. It's actually a bit of a reward for making it this far. If the squirrel sticks their head through this board my wife painted, it's just a photo op they can hang on the wall of their tiny squirrel nest. I'll place a walnut here as an incentive for them not to miss this unique opportunity. The penultimate challenge are the quad steps of great elevation. This is taken straight from Ninja Warrior, and this is super tricky because these pads are all totally smooth and placed at a 45-degree incline. And now for the last challenge. At this point,
Ninja
they
Warrior
are a mere few feet away from their ultimate goal. But if they're not careful, they'll have to deal with the orbital assist platform, aka the final countdown, aka it's not a catapult, it's a squirrelapult.
Ooh, fun.
Which means they now have to go back and start all the way over from the beginning. Now, if they want to avoid that fate, they just need to stand on this pad for less than 3 seconds. But once again, I've placed a diversion here. This one projects an optical illusion of anything you place in the bottom of this dish. It's actually super trippy and looks even more impressive in real life because the projected image is 3D. They're like $9 on Amazon, and I put a link that